Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1979's Babylon Pink. 1979's Babylon Pink. And this particular film stars such actors as Samantha Fox, Vanessa Del Rio, Georgina Spelvin, Bobby Astor, Richard Bola, Eric Edwards, but one of my absolute favorites of the hardcore golden age ever, and she's in very limited films, Georgette Sanders, I believe her name is. I first saw her in Debbie Does Dallas in the tennis sequence where she laughed during some liquid flying beyond her control, and also the record store scene with Eric Edwards' significant other at the time, I guess, with one guy, Oral. Georgette Sanders. So excited that she was in this film, Babylon Pink. Let's get into it. From 1979, 77 minutes long. You're going to see my eyes divert because I did take notes. So let's get into Babylon Pink. Now, when I was researching Georgette Sanders, and I was like, what other movies is she in? This one came up. And then, of course, it got a Blu-ray release from Command Video. I think a resurgence of Command Video, which was an old company back in the day, adult film company back in the day. We have classical, reverb, tribal, rock fusion with laughter. 80s peppy pop rock, piano, funk. What? Did you get all that? I even said laughter. Oftentimes music is over the sexual moans in the film, almost like a music video, and sometimes just reverbed voices. I mentioned pulses of films, rhythms of films. Well, there's a trance-like rhythm in this film of our daily life, of our daily existence. You know, from the alarm clock in the morning to setting the alarm clock at night. You just made it through an entire day. I mean, you think about that. And we don't, because our time is just flying, especially as you get older. And you have less kind of goals. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. You know, I'm going to graduate. You know, there's no goal. If you have a job, you have the same job, you have a career, whatever you're doing, multiple jobs, you just keep that until you die or retire, right? But there's a daily, you know, you should applaud yourself. You made it through a day, and not to want the day to go away no matter how difficult it is, because you could be dead tomorrow, and there's that almost trance-like rhythm of a daily existence. We have a reverb. Reverb is used almost like a sound fantasy alternate reality, which is very interesting. We have, in terms of the sex in the film, we have instructional sex, which is something that a lot of people will like. You'll see that a lot in modern hardcore today. But instructional, giving the other person instructions. We also have food and acrobatic sex. We have the fetish and world of Schoolgirl, and specifically Georgette Sanders plays that because she was always younger in the hardcore realm. I believe 18 or 19 or something like that. So, and there is Schoolgirl self-pleasuring bathtub with the shower head, I believe, while she's on the phone, and she's my favorite. That's Georgette Sanders once again. Lots of telephones and radios, watching, lots of watching, lots of listening. There is an unreal sex sequence in the film of a girl on a table and people around her, involved with her while she's on the table. She's like the only naked one. Insane. Amazing. Um, you're kind of thrown into the film not exactly knowing what the what the storyline is, what the driving kind of vibe is. And then all of a sudden things start to happen and you have to start to put the pieces together in your head and you're like, wait a second, what's going on here? Oh, okay. Oh, it's happening again. Oh, it's happening again. Oh, okay. What is this exactly? And you start to realize that a big theme of the film are fantasies, sexual fantasies. And when we talk about our daily existence, our daily lives, from morning to night, and then trying to get to bed at night to start it all over again, right? Because some of us have sleep problems as well too. But how much do fantasies play into our daily lives? Do fantasies help get through the day too? And not just sexual fantasies, any type of fantasies, or as they would call it, maybe daydreaming, you know, dreams of passions and goals, and definitely, as in Babylon Pink, sexual fantasies. Sexual fantasies of the people you see around you, or the people you work with, or the people in your family circles, or as in Babylon Pink, even the people in your family. Um, so you have this, and fantasies are almost science fiction in nature, and that's something that Babylon Pink almost has the vibe of. Um, Fantasies mix reality at the moment, right? So Babylon Pink shows that your fantasy that you could be having at this exact moment could be incorporating realistic things that are happening that get kind of wrapped up into the fantasy. You can use the analogy of dreams where people will make their friend pee by putting their hand in water, and because the person feels water or feels wet, it incorporates kind of peeing into their dream without even you know um, without waking up. It's just like, oh, I'm physically wet and it's warm and I need to pee and I will pee while I'm sleeping. Wonder if you could do that with mushed bananas and oatmeal and make them poop in their bed. But anyways, um, but fantasies mix reality at the moment. So in this particular movie, we have a golden, not golden shower, but peeing is incorporated into the fantasy. So if somebody is just peeing on the toilet, and then they're having a sexual fantasy, well, that peeing is going to be incorporated into the sexual fantasy, right? So what is happening in the real world is melding into and can be used when you are dreaming in the daytime. We have two girls, one guy with drugs and a strap on. Pretty wild, pretty insane, pretty amazing. We have freeze frames in here. We have a lot of oral focus of juices and drinking, if you catch my drift. We have this crazy uncle with his niece dinner party, virginity fantasy sequence. Always, a lot of times you'll see a common sexual theme in the golden age of hardcore of uncles with nieces. I mean, today it almost seems like it's the opposite. Today it seems like it's more of aunts with nephews. But today there's nothing like there's no fantasy of blood relations. Whereas back in the today it's all stepbrothers, stepmoms, whatever. But back in the golden age, it was blood relation, like the Taboo series and everything, which you can check out on this YouTube page. But the uncle niece dinner party virgin fantasy includes Georgette Sanders as well. Amazing. And the ending credits of the film almost reminded me of Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm show. And the movie Babylon Pink is really like one day in the life, like a TV show. That's what it's like, one day in the life of all of these different characters interconnecting. And at first you're getting these snapshots of a day in the existence of all these random characters, but all these random characters are kind of connected, that you will find out as you continue the film. And fantasy versus dreams, what's the difference? What's the difference between what you dream at night, or a wet dream at night, versus a waking sexual fantasy? What is the difference between the two? And do you have control over what you dream? Do you have control over wet dreams? Now, the power and purpose and necessity of fantasy, of sexual fantasy, but of fantasy in general. Is there a necessity for it? And is fantasy just sexual? There's probably more facets to fantasy. Now, this is directed by Cecil Howard, and he is, he's huge. And the cinematographer in here is Roberta Findlay. Oh my gosh. That is you know what? I didn't know that when I watched it. I'm sorry. I'm correcting myself. Director Henry Packard. Producer Cecil Howard. Cinematographer Roberta Findlay. What a trinity of a powerhouse for this film. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's pretty unbelievable. Yes, bound within the realities and dreams of Babylon Pink. Now, the title of the film, I don't know specifically after watching the movie the meaning of the title of the film, but I will tell you this, it doesn't need to have a direct meaning. There's something beautiful about the revolutionary medium of hardcore golden age cinema. Being the most revolutionary, politically incorrect form of cinema, probably. Second would probably be teen sex comedies from the 70s and 80s and 90s, early 90s. And then third would be horror. But I would say hardcore cinema, golden age hardcore cinema, would be the most revolutionary in regards to pushing every single cinematic artistic boundary. And so you really are without bounds in Babylon Pink. And the beautiful thing is, the title sounds amazing. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Now, the girl on the front here is not in the movie. So the girl that's on the cover here is not in the movie. And she has, one foot has a sneaker and one foot has, you can see here, right? Has a high heels and garter and no garter. But it's really a really unique poster. But those panties that she's wearing are the same panties, it seems, that Georgette Sanders wears in the film. Oh, so on the back and then on the alternate poster, she's now facing you. Here she's facing the mirror. Here she's facing you. And we become the mirror. 1979's Babylon Pink. Thank you so much.